Welcome back to this third installment on blended learning. We're going to be looking at a new tool today on how to keep students not only engaged but also to hold them accountable for following through with the video instruction that you've given them. So grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, let's sit down and talk about Zaption for a little bit. I chose Zaption as a tool for us to look at specifically because, number one, it's the tool that I've chosen to use for this blended learning PD, and you've already seen it in action and how it operates and how it guides people through. What I would like to do today is show you how to create that and how simple it is. Zaption is simply drag and drop. There are a number of really good features in the free program, which is what I'm using. And then if we have enough teachers who decide that they want to use it, maybe we'll move to the site license program. But let's go ahead. I'm going to get out of this screen and get into my Zaption screen, and I'll show you how easy it is to put one of these together. Okay, so once you're in Zaption, you've created your account. I'm using the free version, which is what I recommend you start with. You'll come to the dashboard that shows the lessons that you have available. And it will pre-fill some for you that is a good idea for you to walk through and look at yourself to see sort of how Zaption works in a more complete way than what I'm going to show you today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here and I'm going to click New Lesson. And when I click on a new lesson, it brings up this option for me to load my own videos. I'm going to edit this when I get done so that if there's something that takes a lot of lag time while I'm waiting for something to upload, that kind of thing, we'll get rid of that. If I have to scrub through a video to find the spot I want, I'll take that out and try to keep this video as short as possible. So I can browse my own videos that are already in Zaption, or I can do a search, and so I'm going to click over here to do a search on YouTube, and the YouTube that I'm going to pull up is Blended Learning 01. That is the first video that you watched, and you'll see that it brings up my Coffee Time Blended Learning video right here. And so I'm just going to add this lesson to the video. Now, if I already had found that video on YouTube, I could have just put in the URL and done a search for that. So I'm going to bring this in this way. The other thing that I can do, I can also upload directly to Zaption without going through YouTube. If I don't have a YouTube account, it will load it into the Zaption file on YouTube as an unlisted video, so it won't show up in any search results, but it will be able to be seen. That's the difference between unlisted and private. Be able to be seen without any kind of password once you've put it into the Zaption that you want to use. So once I have this in here, so if I just click the video, it starts playing, and I can control all of that right down here with everything that's going on. So before I move on, let me just show you that if I wanted to upgrade, that is $89 per teacher. It's $1,200 for a site license. And so, if we get enough people that want to do this, then maybe that's the way to go. But as we look into, let me pull back into this lesson here. And it has lost my video, so let's do this again. All right, so we have the video in here. And the reason I point out the free and the paid pro version is anything up here that is highlighted is able to be used. So we can add a text slide. What that will do is at a given point in the video, some slide will pop out to the right-hand side with information on it that you want to include for students to look at. It will also allow you to pull out an image slide at a certain point in the video. You can also do a drawing. I don't draw, so we won't be doing that. An open response. So if you want them to type in what you think they've just learned from that section of the video or recap it in their own words, you could do that. There's also the multiple choice that's available, and you can make that into a quiz of sorts by telling Zaption which one's going to be the correct answer. And then there's also check boxes. If you want to say which of the following, choose all that apply, you can go that way. Zaption is a much better tool for feedback than it is for assessment. So let me just throw that out there now. If you're going to put your video out there in Zaption, Zaption is really the way to judge, did they watch this video or not? And we'll look at some dashboard stuff at the end. So the things that are not available, the numeric response. So if they need to be able to put in math answers, we would need to go pro to do that. For students to be able to draw a response on their iPad or on their phone, that's the pro version. You could also set up discussions in Zaption, which I think is a pretty neat feature. The ability for them to just click replay and watch the video again, and then to jump from section to section. The other thing that I'll tell you that is not available in the free version is groups. I can join a group, but I can't create a group. I don't think this is going to be so necessary because we're going to publish these out through Canvas, and that is its own holder of a group, but it's there nonetheless. So once I have this in place, I can I can do a couple of things. I can trim this video. So if I have a video I've pulled in from YouTube and I only want 30 seconds of it or a minute of it, I can trim that out and just use that section. You notice up here I could add several videos to this timeline. So if I have several different things I want them to look at in the course of teaching this lesson, I could do that. In this case, I just want to upload the video that I created of me teaching that first lesson, which is one of those blow your mind kind of things because I'm creating it now, but you've already seen it. Which came first? So anyway, I'm going to get out of the way at this point and talk through sort of creating some of these. So I'm going to first of all, you'll see as I play this that I have the ability to grab this little piece down here and pull it anywhere that I want to find different places in the video. So here's all the introductory stuff with that very first slide. And so once I get over here, I want to stop somewhere in here. So once I sort of scrub through the video and I find where I want it to be, I'm just going to let this play for just a little bit. I'm going to let this play for just a little bit right here. Away from the teacher. And what you'll see is it will transition from this slide to the next slide. And then that transition is where I want to put a first question. So I'm going to back this up now to... Continuum is an important place to begin. All right, so an important place to begin. Let me do that one more time. So this continuum is an important place to begin. All right, and right there at that transition is where I want to put in a question. So I am going to do a multiple choice response. And the way I do this is I just drag this down to the video. You'll see that I can drag it here or I can drag it over here. It doesn't matter. But it's going to come in right where that little arrow is down at the bottom. And so here's my question. How much of your class do you think you will make online instruction? And so I'm going to click here to add the first choice. None of my instruction will be online. I'm going to click to add the second choice. 10 to 25% of my instruction. I'm going to add a choice, about 50% of my instruction. I'm going to add another choice that is, up to 75% of my instruction. So once I have put all that in, I'm pretty much done. I can look at the element settings up here. And I do want it to appear, I want it to slide out on the right, and then I want the video to pause while they're here. And then once they click submit, you can't submit in editing mode, but once they click submit, then the video will give them a chance to start the video over again where it left off. So that's the first element that I'll put in here. Let's go find the second element. So I'm coming up to another element in the video that I want to put in another question, and so I'm just going to play here. You get zeros on assignments. Taking that ownership is something that we've really got to instill in the students. And the second thing. So right there between those two, I want to stop the video and ask another question. Assignments. Taking that ownership is something that we've really got to instill in the students. So right there, I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to put in this open response question. And so I'm just going to drag it right down here. And I'm just going to click in here. I'm going to ask the question, how important is student ownership of learning in your class? Give at least one example of a way you have encouraged student ownership. All right, and so now it's not going to proceed anywhere until they answer that question, and that is an open response requiring them to type in some kind of answer. And again, you'll see in my element settings, I'm going to leave it at the default like I did before. And then let's go find the next section I want to do. So here I want to find the end of this section on holding students accountable. So I'm just going to play this little clip again. Take ownership and provide ways for teachers to be able to hold students accountable. All right, so right there, I want to insert another open-ended response. So I'm just going to click up here. I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to edit this question, and the question is going to be, how easy is it to hold, well, if I could spell, to hold students accountable when working online? Let's change that to, in your opinion, how easy is it? And please explain your answer. And so there we have another section. And so I'm going to just forward all of this to the next section, which will be sort of, maybe that's it. Maybe that's all I want. So this video is 5 minutes long, roughly, 6 minutes long, I guess. And it has 3 places in the video where I want you, as my students, to stop and answer a question. And so by doing all of that, I have everything that I need here, and I'm just going to click Publish. And so I'm going to do this as Blended Learning 01 and Introduction. And I'm going to publish it just like that. So let me just take you through and show you how this is going to do. Okay, so the video is going to play. You see down at the bottom the little marks here that show where the answers or the questions are. So I'm just going to fast forward right over here. Where they are dealing with things online, using the technology at their disposal. And we'll show you how this sort of pulls out to one side. Take ownership of what they're doing. So this continuum is an important place to begin. All right, so the video stops. It asks me to give some type of answer to this. And so I'm going to say up to 75% of my instruction, because if I'm going to do a Monday only meeting and everything else is online, I'm roughly between 50 and 75%. And the video automatically starts back up again. If I come over here, taking that ownership is something that we really got to instill in the students. So it stops right there, and it gives me another opportunity to answer. Now I'm not going to answer here, okay? What I am going to do is I'm going to look at the analytics of this video, And you'll see that I have one unique viewer. Now, when I log in, when you log in, it's going to ask you for your name. This did not ask me for my name. You'll see that what this tells me is this video is 6 minutes long. This viewer watched an average of 39 seconds. Okay. It will also tell you down here there were 2 skips forward that I did. There is viewer completion over here. I only completed 1 question. And then I can go in, of course, and see if I'd completed the others. I could go in and see all the responses right up here. And I can see the responses for each question. And so here is my response, which was D. But this would tell me out of all the students that I had watched this video, how many chose A, how many chose B, C, and D. And that will give me some idea of feedback of what the students understand by watching this video, at least at that particular point in time. So I can ask a question and get feedback from students on whether they understood what I was saying or not. And so you'll also see next question. 0 responses for the second question. Otherwise, it would come up and it would tell me in a word cloud what the most important words were, but it would also allow me to see individual responses. And then I can also see here all the list of all the viewers, when they viewed, their total viewing time, how many times they watched the video, all that kind of stuff in the background. So it gives me a lot of analytics to hold students accountable. I know if they skip forward. I know if they skipped a question. I know if they didn't put their all into it. I know if they didn't take ownership. So that's a brief overview of Zaption. And you'll get an assignment about this after the video is over.